All right, guys, 5 things you must do to stay out of jail and or prison. If you're new to this channel, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I've been to jail, I've been to prison, and now I'm a probation officer. I've worked in the field for a long time, and I have a unique perspective because I've been on both sides of it. And I think this video can really help you if you're getting out, or if you've been out for a little while and you're not sure which direction to take. So here we go. Number 1. Find out what kind of supervision you're on. If you're getting out of jail, you're most likely on some kind of pretrial supervision or probation. When you're getting out of jail, they give you a bunch of paperwork. You'll sign anything, and you're really not paying attention to what you're signing because you're ready to get out. And a lot of times, people don't realize that they're agreeing to reporting to a pretrial officer or a probation officer within a certain amount of time of once you've been released. You're agreeing to that, so your signature's on it saying that you understand, and if you're not paying attention to what you're looking at, you could end up with a warrant. So I could tell you many times people have told me that they didn't know who they were supposed to report to. They said, I didn't know, nobody told me, that kind of thing. It doesn't matter. That's not going to fly. You have to be proactive in this. You have to find out who your officer is and get on good terms with them. That would be one of the first things I do. If you're getting out of prison, you're probably on some kind of post-release control or parole, which is very similar. You're going to have an officer's name, an officer's number. They expect you to call when you get out within a certain amount of time. A lot of times they will take the information you have on your file, which could be an old address or an old phone number, and the officer that ends up as your supervising officer is just going to look at that information and try to get a hold of you a few times. If you don't respond, they consider you an absconder. And what that means is you'll basically get a warrant out for your arrest. You could be out doing the right thing, and all of a sudden you get pulled over for a tail light, and you end up back in jail because you have a warrant for your arrest, because you didn't report, because you weren't proactive, because you weren't prepared, you didn't know who you were supposed to report to. It doesn't matter. It's your job to know, so make sure you understand that. Make sure you find out who your supervising officer is and get in contact with them immediately when you get out so you can avoid going back to jail. Number 2 is find a support system. And this could be some good family members in your life that are positive role models, that also have some goals and some ambitions that they're chasing, people that are doing the right thing, people that are going to talk you off the cliff when you need them to. Notice I said when you need them to. When you get out here, it's going to be tough, man. You might have to work a full-time job, maybe 2 full-time jobs. You're not going to have great days all the time. You're going to have days where you're not getting along with your coworkers or your manager. You're paying bills and you feel like just you're walking through quicksand sometimes. It's hard to get ahead when you've done some time. You're going to need that support system, and you're going to need some people to confide in and lean on. If you don't have any family that you can talk to, go to your local church, go to a NA meeting, an AA meeting, go to a recreation center, get involved, find some people that can lift you up and pull you out when you need it, man, because believe me, you're going to need it. A lot of people might think it's more important to find a job before they find a support system. I'm not saying that's wrong, but in my opinion, finding a support system right when you get out is ideal, because a lot of times you might even be able to find a job through somebody that's a part of that community already, that already has a job. They can give you a good reference and get your foot in the door at a company that's better than the one that you might find on your own. So finding that support system, in my opinion, is vital. Number 3 is going to be get a job. Of course, we have to work so that we can support ourselves. A lot of us have families we got to take care of. It goes without saying. Of course, you have to find a job, not only so that you can support yourself, but also you need to occupy your time. I'm sure you've heard the saying, idle time's the devil's workshop. I agree with that. I think you want to minimize significant amounts of downtime, because if you don't, you may find yourself back in the old behaviors that got you locked up in the first place. And I want to point this out too. When you get out, you may not have a lot of opportunities. Speaking for myself, when I got out of prison in 1999, all I had was a GED that I received while I was inside and the shirt on my back, man. That was it. A lot of companies didn't want to hire me. Not only did I have that felony conviction to explain, but I also had a significant amount of an employment gap there, and I didn't have a lot of job experience. So 90% of the jobs I was applying for weren't calling me back. But one thing I had to realize was any job that was willing to hire me was worth more than just what they were paying. And when you get this job, it may not be ideal. It might be a horrible job. It might be fast food or some kind of labor. But whatever it is, man, look at it like an opportunity for several reasons. One, if they're willing to train you in other areas, look at any type of job task like a bullet point for your resume. Not only are you learning new skills, but you're also building a reputation, which is very important. because you may apply for a job right when you get out and they don't call you back because you don't have a work reference and you're not currently employed. Believe me, it's very important to be currently employed while you're job seeking. So take that job, whatever it is, and build a reputation, add some bullet points to your resume, and then when you can apply for new jobs, you'll have a good reputation from the manager you're working for. So when you go in there, do your best, have a good work ethic, be dependable, show them you're reliable, and if that supervisor or manager has any kind of integrity, they're going to want you to succeed. So when a new employer calls to ask them about you, they're going to give you a good reference, and that's going to open up new doors for you. But in order to open up new doors, you got to make the most out of the one that you're in. So don't look at any job like it's insignificant. That's an opportunity that you have to prove yourself, to show your work ethic, to show how dependable you are. So make the best out of any opportunity. And number 4 is minimize your risk. And I don't know who you are watching this video, but you know what your risk is. You understand what got you locked up in the first place. We all have different issues. I don't know why you got locked up and what put you there in the first place, but obviously you want to avoid those things. So I would avoid partying. I would avoid bars. I would avoid people that use dope. Anything like that, man, especially avoid people that you might have been with when you got locked up in the first place. And this kind of ties back into number 2, which is why a support system is so important, man. You want to hang out with people that are pro-social, people that have ambition, people that are doing things in life, people that are going to college, people that are focused on their careers and their families, because the more you hang out with them, the more that kind of behavior is going to rub off on you. And if that's the truth, then the opposite is also true. If you hang out with the wrong people, it's only a matter of time before you fall back into those old behaviors also. So that's number 4, man, minimize your risk. And that leads us into number 5, which is dream big. Find a dream and pursue it with everything you have. And a lot of people are going to disagree with that. They're going to say you should be practical. You should have small goals. You should not set yourself up for failure. Don't have delusions of grandeur because it's not going to work. But I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. I think it's very important to dream big because you got to have something to look forward to. You got to have a dragon to slay. You got to have something that you're dreaming about, some kind of vision or a goal that seems too far out of your reach, because I would much rather set a goal too high and fall short than to set one that's too low and exceed it. And something else is going to do for you. It's going to get you through that 9 to 5. It's going to get you through that grind. Whatever that is, write it down, put your vision down somewhere where you're going to see it every day, and that could be your fuel. That could be like a catalyst to get through that daily grind. It's going to be very difficult, especially if you've been down for a while. Assuming that you're not doing the things I mentioned earlier in the video, you're not going to the bars anymore, you're not partying, you're not doing the things you used to do, you might find life kind of boring. So how do you get through that boredom? It's by finding a dream and pursuing it with everything that you have. I think you should start out small. Start out with some short-term goals like getting your driver's license back, getting a good house, things like that. But ultimately, you want to have a long-term goal that's going to take a while to achieve. And ultimately, the best goal to chase is something that you would never pursue if you were living that old lifestyle. And I don't know what that is for you, but you might have to start with a clean slate. What I mean by that is, imagine when you were a kid and thinking about what you wanted to be when you grow up. Go back to that. Go back to that and start with that thing. And you may have to adapt that dream to something more practical, but start with what you would do if you could go back and do it all over again. And I think that's going to give you a good foundation for what you really want to do with your life. And believe it or not, that can really help you get through the tough days that you don't want to get out of bed, man. Days that alarm clock's going off and you're going back to this labor job and you're working outside. It's 50 degrees out and you're cold, you're tired. You want to call off, but you don't. And you don't because you have that dream that you're trying to pursue. Who knows? You might achieve it. You'd be amazed at what you can achieve when you do the right thing consistently. And also, you will be amazed at what you can still achieve even with that felony conviction. I know there's a stigma that goes along with that felony conviction. It's almost like a death sentence, but it's not. Even if that conviction is preventing you from chasing your original dream, man, that's still not the end either, because there's clemencies, there's expungements, you could get a pardon. There's a lot of ways around that, but you have to start with that dream. You have to start with a vision. Put it down on paper, put it somewhere where you can see it every day. Believe it or not, that's going to be what gets you through the tough days. Get that full-time job to pay your bills and take care of yourself, but treat that dream like a plant that's in a corner and you just go put some water on it once in a while and hope that it blossoms. That's all I got for you today. Remember, guys, as long as you're progressing, you are succeeding. Thanks for watching.
that's how we end up. Shades of blue and gray. I feel just like an empty bottle. My dreams are on delay. I just wanna climb on top of a hill and throw it all away, away. Take me far away before my mind spins off and I am all derailed, derailed. Just